Childhood video games. If you're watching this, I'm sure you've dealt with video games growing up, whether it was Pac-Man, Tetris, Super Mario, Doom, The Legend of Zelda, or Half-Life. Or if you're really young, perhaps even younger than me, you've played something like GTA 5 or even Fortnite when you were little. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm the oldest myself. I know someone who has witnessed the releases of very first Silent Hill games in the 2000s. And then you have me who remembers when GTA 5 was not a thing yet, and when it got announced. So not a lot to work with here, as my very first video game I've ever played was Grand Theft Auto Vice City, somewhere in the 2000s. And even though I've grown to love San Andreas more, I still admire it a lot. And yeah, you can tell I was exposed to video games since the early age. But there was one more game that I also enjoyed playing. It was Need for Speed Underground, and specifically the sequel. I played the first game a lot too, but once I found out about Underground 2, it just stuck with me for so long. I played it a lot before I found Mirror's Edge, and I still kept coming back to it so many times afterwards. This, Mirror's Edge, and perhaps The Sims 3 pretty much raised me, if you can say that. The game released in November 2004, receiving positive response both from critics and general public. Being praised for fun gameplay, the endless customization, the graphics, and the addition of free roam, which was the first instance of it in the series. The game's world was split into 5 different districts, each with different aesthetics, with only one of them being available at the beginning of the game, progressively unlocking each one of them as the story progresses. As for the story, it's whack. But that's okay, because the plot is never the selling point in racing games to me. It starts right from where the first game ended. We, the player, have defeated the big people, so we are crowned as the status of best street racer in the city. And while driving to a party to celebrate, we get ambushed by a Hummer car. 6 months later, after that, we fly to Bayview, the city we're gonna explore, on Rachel's 350Z before we have to give it back to her. We buy a new car, and with the help of Rachel Teller, we get back into racing scene. Eventually we find the same guy who destroyed our car in Olympic City, so we also take him down, and once again we receive the status of the best underground racer in the city. As I already said, the story never really matters to me if it's a racing game. After all, the reason why I want to play it is to race, customize cars and stuff like that. I don't hate it though, and the bad voice acting is just somehow so 2000s, so it doesn't bother me much either. Since it's an early 2000s game, you're gonna run into a couple of issues if you want to actually play the game. First, it never went digital, so we cannot just buy it on Steam and then play it. There are 2 ways to get it. Either buy a physical copy, which I imagine is very difficult to get hands on, a genuine copy of an 11-year-old game nowadays, or just find the ROM image of it online. If you chose the second option, you also need to find a specific no-CD execution file that won't crash your game. And you also have to find a patch that will actually let you run the game in 16:9 aspect ratio, or the whatever ratio your monitor is, since by default it's just 4:3. Those were truly different days. Open world is pretty big by the 2004 standards, and I loved riding around exploring each corner of it as a kid. You can also challenge the AI players to race with you any moment, as they are always on the streets. There are different types of races you can participate in. Circuit race, a standard race involving driving around a track that loops back to the start. Sprint race, point-to-point race, simple. Drifting. Here you are either on the parquet tracks or going downhill. You need to get points by sliding the car and not hitting anything. I admit this is probably the most fun one. Drag racing. Straight line race that forces the manual transmission. This confused the hell out of my young self, but I figured it out. Street X. Basically mini circuit races that take place on the parquet tracks. Absolutely hated it, and I still don't like it. I'm sorry. Underground Racing League, URL for short, set of tournaments that take place in closed-off tracks far from city streets, sometimes even on airport runways. The deeper you are in the story mode, the more often you'll get tournaments involving 2 or more races, and oh my god. It was cool at first, but it gets tiring very quickly, as these tournaments can last up to like 10 minutes in total, and you just keep getting them over and over, and you have to finish them as they are crucial for story progression. The game was criticized for having to race excessive amount of times to progress, and you really can see why. I just end up hating URL so much when I'm in like second half of the game. For Lost, there are special events. Not really races, but something like reaching the photographer's destination will unlock you a magazine or DVD cover. To customize or upgrade the car, you can visit the tuning and body shops, and I gotta say, there are a good lot of customization. Despite this game being one of my childhood games, I never grew to be the car guy, so all my cars end up looking really basic and I don't even try anymore. I'm sorry, I like racing games, and sometimes even play Forza Horizon, but even there, all my cars are basic as hell. But if you love customizing your car, you'll most likely love this aspect of the game. All in all, this game is amazing, and I would rate it a 9 out of 10, even despite how long it is. Playing it always brings back good memories for me, and I always end up replaying it towards the end of every year. Being something that you spend so much time with just really does that to you. And I can confidently say this is a great game, definitely one of the best Need for Speed games ever, if not the best. I'm not really a fan of latest games they've been putting out lately. I actually played the Heat one this summer. Well, tried playing it. My friend gave me the Pride gaming code for it, and I thought, why not try it? I actually couldn't play it for more than 3 hours. Very cringe-inducing experience accompanied by very boring and unengaging gameplay. If you like NFS but somehow still haven't checked this out, please do me a favor and download this game right now. I have to be honest, I'm not very excited about the new Need for Speed they just released. I guess I gotta give them props for trying something new, but to me it still doesn't look good. The 2000s Need for Speed games probably will never be topped. Thank you so much for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, drop a like under this video and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1000 subs, and I'm doing more content like this soon. It would be also great to hear your thoughts on this game in comments. That's it for now, and see you soon. But don't click off the video yet, because I still have something to say. I just want to say Happy New Year's to everyone, and thank you so much for being here with me and enjoying my content. I didn't upload much this year, but I'm trying to solve this issue in the new year, producing a lot more interesting videos for everyone. And yes, I finally shift from regular Mirror's Edge content to a variety of different games, as I want to grow this channel and attract a lot more new people. I have a lot of games on my list to make videos on, but you could also suggest me to play the ones I potentially have never played. Maybe some of them could really catch my attention. To give you a glimpse of my future content, I'm just gonna say that I wanna make videos on my favorite video games that I've already loved for a long time, such as Dishonored, the second game in particular, or Watch Dogs, or maybe even Forza Horizon, as it's one of those games that I discovered in 2022 and I really enjoyed it. But the list goes on, and you can always help me expand it by suggesting the games that I may have forgotten or could discover for the first time. It's gonna be a lot of fun.